This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
There's a door. Is that an achievement that's like really annoying to get in this game that I don't want to do, but I might do it anyway? Sorry, I'm scared.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
What's the suicide ending?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
We'll do that later.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Hey, stop touching it.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
Yeah, because you literally
Stanley stepped through the open door.
Ooh, freedom. I got freedom.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I'm so confused what you did. Oh, I got an achievement. Beat the game. Get your first... I got beat the game first trophy. I did the game the proper way. I don't know what you did.
I got this one.
I want you to tell me what you did.
So I jumped off.
How did you jump off where? I can't jump.
Did you see the escape wood?
No. Oh, you went to... Why'd you go to escape? You're supposed to keep going.
I went to there and I got an ending.
This is a story of a man named Stanley.
So...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So I'll tell you where I went.
I watch too many people play this game. I want to know what the closet is.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Over there. Nice.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
He said something when you go back up to the elevator.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What's this code again? I forgot.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Keep going.
I went down and I went up. Back down. But when you go up, you can't go back down. Until it lets me. Done. I'll tell you where to go. This.
There's only one way you can't.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You're supposed to go in here because there's like 2 endings you can get in there.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
His violent death is crazy.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
One of the endings I know you can keep continuing jumping off.
Look down. I'm not going there until. I'm like, okay, yep. Jump.
Oh, definitely not. I can't jump. You gotta push it.
Keep tapping A.
A doesn't do anything.
Keep tapping X. I mean,
X doesn't do anything. It just clicks on it.
It sounds like the ASMR keys in Fortnite. See, listen.
Oh.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
You know. That's good. Fair enough.
Farewell, Stanley,
What?
cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? That's Cap. What? Let me back in there. Is that what happened to you?
Yep. There it says that.
Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before
Hey,
Stanley
turn
would
us on.
restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think
on,
he was
turn it
going to
on.
accomplish?
Do it.
Leave him alone. He likes to play with his wife.
Come on, turn it on.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance,
Ooh.
death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Live streaming is not back on TikTok yet, and people are jumping to conclusions that
Of course they are.
sold the company, or that Meta has some investment in it now, or maybe they just everything has been going live because something else is happening. Who knows?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
What squished? Why don't I turn my mic up, like?
I did something. It's a spoiler. Okay, never mind. Let's just start back at the beginning.
I won't.
So follow me.
No.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Why would you spoil
What could it
yourself?
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Not.
Don't go in the meeting room. Go that way. Yeah. Go this way. Go the other way. No, not that.
Dumb?
Go on the white door.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Go that way. No, I didn't go that way.
I'm going this way.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ooh, this one you can kill yourself, I think.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I am very powerful. Anyways, we're gonna ignore that.
That was funny. No. This is not why.
I do not want to be Larry's friend. Type. Yo, we just casually jump off and dies. That's just how it works. Like, this is how it works. Because I'm powerful. Like, Stanley is very powerful. Trust.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Casually runs into a wall.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Tell me what to do, like,
Wow.
I'm Stanley, bro.
Yes, this
I'm your
room.
husband, like,
But
you can't
eager to
actually
get
just
back to
tell me what to
business,
do.
Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
As long as you go in that door, what you doing? There's so many different ways you can go in this game, it's not even funny.
It's funny.
How's this funny?
When he-
Where's the ending that you can keep jumping off the staircase? Because I want to do that one.
When he said something.
That's so depressing. Such a sad one.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the
I didn't
office.
wanna go back to
He
the
wanted to
office, bro.
wander about and get even further
Is this
off
what a
track.
lazy game is?
So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
Don't tell me you don't know where to go.
From here, it's, left.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Okay. It's understandable.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
What were you
It's
thinking?
clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Of course. I will wait. You can go look at your papers. Go ahead.
Now,
Rustling
let's
papers.
see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Yeah. Stop, you're right. I don't get cutting murdered. Oh yeah, it is right. This is where
No,
you're supposed to be.
no.
Oh,
This
this is
isn't right
spoilers,
at all. You're not supposed to be here
This is
yet.
a
This is all a
spoiler for the actual
spoiler.
game.
Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Okay. I'll close my eyes.
Okay. We just have to get back to who
I'm
am I
closing my
kidding?
eyes. I
It's
already
all
saw
rubbish
this.
now. The whole story
If you
completely
do the right
unusable.
story, this is what you
How
see.
about rather than waste my time trying to
Waste my
salvage this
time?
nonsense, we'll just
Yeah, let's just
restart the
restart,
game
yeah.
from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay.
Yeah.
From the top.
Yeah, Joey, do the game right and then see what happens. It'll tell you all about the game. Do the game from the beginning the right way. What he tells you to do.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait.
What?
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over,
What
completely
did you
fresh.
do?
Everything should be...
Yo,
Oh, did
what
something change?
did you do?
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you?
why are
I'm
you
the one who
asking
wrote
me?
the story.
Yeah,
It
you
was
did.
right here just a minute ago.
I know.
I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's
Ooh,
an
adventure.
adventure. Come, Stanley.
Yay,
Let's
adventure.
find the story.
Wait, there's an open door behind it.
Oh, yo.
What is on the back door over there?
Being covered. Where's the adventure line? I want the adventure line to help me.
That's easy. I'll get my head out. How do I
Inner guilt. Everyone knows what you did. They're just holding back to let you torture yourself. True.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this.
Yeah,
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Yo, what? Casually goes in a loop? What? What? Okay, we started the game again. It's
All
okay.
of his co-workers were
Start the
gone.
game again.
What could it
We're
mean?
fine.
Stanley
Game
decided to
is
go to the
fine.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, we missed a memo. So we're gonna go to the doors, okay? Yo, what happened to the doors? Yo!
Okay, yep, it's
It's
worse.
worse,
I might be
bro.
remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
Yeah.
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
That's smart. Smart move. Real smart. What happened?
Aha! I knew we'd
yeah.
missed something. The story.
Here's
Here it
the story.
comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Yo, what?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office
Yo,
building.
what is this, bro?
Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
Woo.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good
Woo.
job.
I win.
Oh, no.
What
No,
do you mean, I win?
don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any
What?
actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
What?
Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to
No.
restart.
I don't want to restart. Adventure
All right,
line.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not
again.
again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted
Line,
you,
how
after
could
everything
you?
we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Bro, the lion killed us, bro. Lion, how could you? I trusted you, Lion. Dude, Lion.
You know what, Stanley?
What?
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us?
I
We're
wanna
intelligent
follow
people,
it, let
right?
me.
Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring,
No.
mysterious. Ooh,
No.
this all
I
sounds
wanna
perfectly
do the
doable. Why
Stanley
don't we
Parable
simply start
adventure
wandering in,
line.
well, I don't know. How about this direction?
What direction? I don't trust you. You're gonna get me killed or something. It's
Now,
gonna end up leading...
yes, this
I'm
is
ready.
exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild.
romance.
Use your imagination. Whatever it
Romance
might be,
story.
Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Romance story, me and you. Come on, let's go.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new
Veto the
story.
line.
No lines or monitor rooms.
What?
Just don't acknowledge it, and we should
I
be
love
fine.
the line. I'm acknowledging it.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic.
So
Come,
only the right
Stanley,
doors?
our destiny awaits.
You really want to go in? Oh, okay. That's confusing.
Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game
What?
8 times?
What?
That's really how all this goes?
I'm gonna die.
It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
The choices wouldn't matter.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait.
I'm in the
You
confusion
know,
ending.
I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the
I wanna go
journey
downstairs
and not
yet.
the
I'm stuck
destination.
here. I have
So
to do
I hope
something.
that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we?
Because we're gonna go to a
Eventually.
bookstore. I want to go to a bookstore.
Well, in the meantime, if you...
It's exactly what happening in the goddamn ending he said, bro. It said he's gonna restart the game, and then he's gonna forget, and he restart it. I won't be able to change anything. They're gonna restart again. I'm gonna find a bookstore, and then I'm gonna go. We're gonna leave, and I'm gonna eventually die. That's what the big board said. So yay, Stanley gonna get murdered, bro. Like I'm gonna get murdered.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
At the end.
Let's hope the ending's right.
I don't want to tell you anything, but
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Whee.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be
There's
fined
nowhere
for
the car
that.
can leave.
And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Maybe.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
This can't be real.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
I'm dreaming!
He yelled.
This is all a
dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
I don't know what else could be happening.
His co-workers weren't actually gone.
Wait.
He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Let me wake up, bro. Like,
I'm through with this dream.
I'm through with this dream.
I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job.
Let me continue pushing the
buttons.
buttons.
Let me continue pushing the buttons.
It's all I want.
Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment.
I want my apartment
and my wife
even though I got
and my
that
job.
one, and my job.
All I want is my life
exactly
the way it's always been.
Don't tell my gay.
My life is normal.
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be completely fine.
Everything will be fine.
Like, it'll be fine. Shut.
I am
okay, bro. Like, amazing. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
casually dies.
This is the story of a
This is
woman
a
named
story of a
Mariella.
woman named Morella. Is that Morella?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
Wait, what's her name?
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and
You
walked to her
what?
place of work. But on this
You what?
particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although
he
she would
did.
soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone
crazy.
knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she
How
was to
lucky
be
she
normal.
was to be normal.
I am sane.
I am sane. I
in
control my
control
own man.
of my
I know what is real
mind.
and what isn't.
I know what is real and what
Yeah,
isn't.
totally, honey.
It was
Go
comforting
on.
to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her
So you
feel
enjoyed
better.
Stanley's suffering?
But then she remembered the
Stanley
meeting
is
she
a
had
very
scheduled for
amazing
that
character.
day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
What did she say?
Then she turned around and went.
Turned around and ran is crazy. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is it loading, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Yo, this game is actually a fire game though. I need to get all the achievements, but I'm not looking at them right now. Or we'll wait till like I get one more ending or something to start looking them up.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know, yeah, that's where the new stuff is. I don't know where it is.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
No.
Feeling a
It says you played
wave of
the game
disbelief,
before.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
closet.
office. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
What's the broom closet? Where's the bucket? I know there's a bucket somewhere in this game, and I want to find the bucket. Because you can pick the bucket up and take it with you, because I want the bucket. I'm playing around. Did that game just freeze? I was about to say. This is broom closet. There's a door that says Blue Content if you already played the game before, which is spoilers if you don't know that. I know there's a Rocket League thing.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Oh, fine,
walked
fine.
upstairs to his boss's office.
No, I want to do it myself. Yeah, I don't care.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his
What again?
tracks. Not a living soul anywhere.
Yes.
Could he really be all alone? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Loading, 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 times infinity. Yes. Yes. Look at Nathan. my scary teacher 3D. Speedrun. Let's go. Let's go.
Stanley walked
Let's
straight
go.
ahead through the
Let's go,
large
let's go,
door
let's
that
go.
read
Let's
Mind
go.
Control
Let's go.
Facility.
Let's go. I didn't ask.
The lights rose on an enormous room
tried to
packed
jump.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Wait, look up. Look back the other way. Look up.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true
it is.
nature revealed. Each bore the
I bet
number
they
of an
so many times to
employee
give
in
me
the
a secret
building,
that you can't jump.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh, dear me. What's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Let you know, wouldn't you know? Let's get to the ending. Who would like to know? I'd like to know. Offer of the moment. Can you tell me? Do I end up? Do I end up happy? Hey, stop dancing. Dun, 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 dun. This is a story of a... Where's the new stuff? Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Banana phone. Is it Mara? What is it on? Hold on, I'm deaf. Wait. This one?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Game restart. The end is never the end, 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 is never the end. Your is in my hand. I can never choose to love another. Maybe one day I can learn to love you too.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle. Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Come on. Ooh, random ass stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Wait. Wait, stop. Where are we?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
I don't trust you. But okay, let's go into that. Random. So would I get killed in here? Stanley gets murdered in an event. What happens next will shock you. Be like, we're not gonna die, bro. Like, we are absolutely chilling. We aren't gonna get okay. Maybe.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be.
Yeah,
but
it
it got
was
me
very
thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Hey.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation
because it
port?
happened is crazy.
Remember back in October of 2013 when the
Honest
game
people, is
originally
it possible
launched?
to get this achievement?
Back then,
Go
video
outside.
games had
Don't play
integrity.
for 5
Back
years.
then,
Is that
it
an
all
actual
meant
achievement in this?
something. Oh, the waste.
That's actually crazy.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from
10 out of 10 game,
Destructoid.com.
bro, like-
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
We all died.
Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created.
I like
That's
it.
how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created.
Skyrim
It was
sucks.
Skyrim. It was Persona
That's-
3.
that's-
It was all of
that's
them.
opinion,
And
by the
now,
way. Don't hate
it's
it.
nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
No.
A lifeless husk
Oh, we're in
with
elevator
an hour
content.
of
That was
new
not an hour.
elevator
That was not an hour
content.
at all, bro. Ooh. I want to read this stuff. Oh yes, to 2 doors. Nice. Original remake. Car.
Did you see the new content?
Yeah, I went in the door. Ended up here.
Yeah.
It was like, there was an elevator, we went into it, and it's like, that's it. And
Here's
he's
another
like,
moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley?
Yeah,
The
the
game was
perfect.
perfect. It
It got
didn't need
9,
anything
bro.
else. It didn't need
Superb.
new content. All they had to do was
bad.
transport it in pristine
bad.
condition along to the PlayStation. Boom,
Jeez.
done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved
Right,
franchise.
it's nearly as weird as the one in Stanley Parable.
Go for the door.
What door?
And go with me. Wait, look.
Oh, these were simpler times, Stanley.
The serious
But
one.
I wouldn't give to go back
Yeah, we're
to have it
serious.
all over again.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, hang on.
Where are we?
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no,
no!
Stanley. It's a collection
Thank
of
God.
reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for
Yo, what is
computer
this,
games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Blow up.
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't
Oh
they?
yeah, look. Oh. I cannot
Honestly,
be
I
bothered
could not be
with
bothered
the
to
full
play this game to
completion.
full completion. The narrator is
unfunny.
obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art.
Funny.
I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the
Funny.
Stanley Parable,
You
but
think
the
I'm
game is already
funny,
such a
do
densely
ya?
layered web of
Well,
profound
casually
philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Wait, no. Wait, no. Oh, you don't have to restart by yourself. It just automatically restarts. Not
Okay,
recommended.
let's see what this one says.
Well, the
While the
idea
idea for the game is good, for someone who
no,
prefers
okay.
non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not
We're twisting
preachy,
it
am
over and
I?
over again. So
You
the
can
first
tell me if I'm
game.
preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh, dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
You're not a failure to me.
Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening.
I wish there was a skip
I wish there
button.
was a skip button. A skip button?
No.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm
Button.
truly too preachy, then maybe letting you
preachy.
skip
You're
ahead for
preachy.
just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit
got a
around waiting
sexy
for me to
voice,
shut
come on.
up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly dealt. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
so desperate, it's not even
or 2
funny.
weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
Yeah, 'cause I'm mute.
Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters
I mattered
anymore.
to you?
I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction.
You aren't fiction,
Was I
honey.
scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time. But if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I've cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
I wanted to hear him talk, but
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not...
you talk too much.
Look at the other side. Look over there. Look in the corner. Look in the corner. They're looking in that corner. No, no. You have to look in at every time. Every time look at that corner.
Where'd Honey go? Honey, where'd you go? Is it me?
No, it's the fire alarm up there. On the roof.
Yo, where did
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability.
Okay.
It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world.
Stable.
As though there were no consequences for a...
He is definitely not mentally stable. Back to the silence again.
No BT.
Ring, ring, ring. Banana phone.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the
You okay
end, is
mentally?
never the end,
Or
is
is
never
he
the
like...
end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the
Somebody.
Oh my god, he sits on again. I'd rather him be dead silent and spamming a goddamn word. Drip, drip. End is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. We're slowly decomposing. Did he just leave me to die? Bro actually left me to die is crazy.
There's light. Look up.
I think there's a way to get out.
There is a way.
Press the skip button. Ooh, green. It's like this, remember Stray? It reminds me of that. I wonder what happened to, what's his name? What's his name?
Stanley?
No, that's our name. Oh, it's not pretty anymore. I wonder what happened to the narrator.
Honey's home again. Now I miss him.
Yeah, you said he was annoying. No, 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 let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. I don't like it here anymore. Yo, my button! Ooh, freedom? Is the button broke? We sat on the button and broke it. Our button's too bad. Where's the narrator? No, I'm following the bus. Something. It's like... sat on it and it broke. Stanley sometimes you can see on the bloody button and it broke. You want pop? Remove the button. Sat on it. What happened to Stanley? I mean, this narrator. What do you think that's the narrator's real name? Yo! I can't see!
I didn't even see that happen.
I'm blinded! Bro blinded me! Blinded by the lights! Dun 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 dun. I do draws. I don't even know this stupid song. You judge me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show
It's a baby
you.
game. Please don't kill me. Please, better not. You better not be leading me to like my death or something, cause like, I don't know. Interesting. Oh, to judge me, I can see clearly. Oh, and I say, oh thank God, this stupid.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy.
55.
So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
That's not even the time. Ooh, Stanley Parable 2!
Yes, you see? Isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
They're back.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel to the Stanley Parable. Is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the okay. New features. What new features? New content. Ooh, we gotta go bus leak. So it's supposed to be like PAX League. Cause I don't think anyone's here, like, not gonna lie. Yo.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that's playing the game. That's new. Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Name is Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please... Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would... An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later. Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then. Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Even though you suck, you better tell me. You better fully pay attention.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
What?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
2 minutes on the timer, went down, and I said, oh, let's do a little bit more. We'll do a little bit more timer, and goes all the way down, he says, happily ever at, and I blew the whole thing up.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shape...
no.
How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Uh-oh.
Is the, teleport button not working?
No. I can't
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Going down a hole. Almost down a hole. I'm going down it.
My head's stronger.
We're going down. Yo. Baby dog, no way! What are you terrible things? What? Look around.
Stanley? Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
Let me out of
But we
the
can't have that,
hole.
Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second
let
of
me
it.
out.
You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the
There's a song
hole?
lyric here, though.
From the looks of things,
Just
you
the
and I will
two
have
of us.
many, many years here in this
We can make
hole,
it if
and
we
I'm looking
try.
forward to all of them.
The two of
Stay
us.
alert, Stanley.
Just
I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Just the two of us, building castles in the sky. Just the two of us, you and I. Oh, thank God. I don't want to be in this hole anymore. Let me out of the infinite hole.
I want to show you something.
Oh, thank God. No more hole
Here we
time.
are. Go on. Try out some of the
Can I
new
leave
features.
now? Oh, there's a gym button right there. There's no other things. What's this? Oh yeah. Red is the new orange. Oh, what? How do I leave? You're supposed to get a trophy there, but there isn't. Yeah, I don't know what that is. How's the way out?
My jumping circle.
Yeah, I have no jumps. I can't jump in it. Where's the exit? That's the infinite hole. Infinite hole. Put me back in the infinite hole. Darn. You guys want me to go back in the hole? I know I wanted to get out, but like... Come on. Why is he turned? Why is he looking like that? There's supposed to be a trophy there, but you can't even get it. It's triggering. Nuevo. Back downstairs. How do I leave? The button that says gym.
Go to the button that says gym.
I went there before though.
Go up this tail.
Where's the exit? I know there's an exit somewhere. Oh, we got the merch. Ooh, we got number 2. The end is never the end again. Yo. What's the middle one say? This t-shirt is the best new feature.
This is the best feature.
That's crazy. Alright, what's up here?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was
The
that it was
bucket!
confusing and paradoxical,
Where's the bucket?
that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it.
Oh.
Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem of the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your
bucket?
heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will
away, I
feel
want the
perfectly
bucket.
normal and perhaps even comforting.
How the hell
You may even come to
do that,
long
but
for
let
the
me have
gentle
bucket.
embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
Give me the bucket.
Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would
Did
be?
he just curse?
Yes, the
Stop
bucket
cursing.
is the perfect solution.
This is family
Come on,
friendly.
Give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
I got
I think that
rich.
just holding it has made you the
Make you
slightest
more
bit more attractive as a
attractive,
person.
yo, what?
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you
Give me my
in the
bucket and let me
Stanley
leave.
Parable 2.
Taking the bucket with me.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
There's a way probably. I forgot. I still remember seeing it, but like I forgot where it was. Taking the bucket with me though. There's the exit. I think.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
What's this? Yeah, I like how this looks.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like
It was
all of the new
fire.
features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
What is that?
Well,
There's
I mean,
not
there's potential here, right?
Potential
It's
here.
Sort of. Okay, never mind.
Yo, what is
Hold
this
on.
game?
Let me do a different
The
arrangement.
jump scare.
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
It's worse.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
We need the choices.
Wait,
choices.
maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Alright, this is gonna be the second game. You ready? Yeah. No. Ooh, this is it. Yo. Oh, look at this intro. Ah. I don't know. I just did the game. I clicked on. Oh. No, I didn't. No one knows what's called. The new content.
I just want the new content.
Well, I got into it again after I saw a neon sign.
I can't get in anymore. It's doing blocked. Daddy's gonna be here soon. We can only go in there once.
Well, I went in like 3 times.
Daddy's going to stay home. Yeah, fat. We know. Well, get ready to get yelled at.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I don't know.
Stanley worked for a company in a
look
big
at this
building
intro now.
where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
My bucket.
How'd you get to the beginning? How'd you get to Stanley 2? I did the game. No. I did it 3 times already.
Well, no.
You need to help me.
Well, I don't know how to do it. You just want to go and go new content.
I did go new content. This was wrong.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
My bucket.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again... Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him. telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good,
said the bucket.
Now...
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417? Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 43. Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so. Now, back to door number 437.
What?
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
You think upstairs?
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's deck. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 417. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again! Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Goofy,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would... blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
The end. No.
Why does it say the end is never the end?
I don't know.
Is that the end?
No.
The end.
No.
You'll be in like 10 minutes.
Just what achievements you have to get. Bro.
I'm just checking your muscles, bro. What time is it? Back. No, back the other way. Ding dong. Turn around. Up. No, this time don't think like that. Oh, no, no, we go. Almost at a box.
This game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket